Badger Girl, another look and read debacle that I have to sit and pick apart like some mad crow pecking at a dog's carcass. But there's one question on all of our lips. Is she more or less terrifying than a horse girl? That's what we're here to find out today. Probably. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet. Find out at the end if I remember that I even brought this up in the first place. Our story begins like all good stories begin, not with the actual story, but with your dad's wet dream walking through the front door and finding the only mail more disappointing than a gas bill. Take your time, love.
Our Dartmoor holiday by Debbie West and Kieran Singh.
That fox has seen things.
They were here on a farm holiday last spring. Didn't they have some adventures?
I have no idea, but I'm sure we're going to find out. Now, confession time. I've never seen Badger Girl before. This is my first time, so I apologise if I get terrified by any sudden mullets.
Find this grass beneath your feet.
I don't like it.
Real country this is. It's just like the Wild West.
You must be joking, mate. No crowds, no people, no chip shops, no space invaders, nothing. Just grass and sheep. Just grass and stuff.
Well, I think we're dead lucky getting picked for this farm holiday. Just Kieran and Debbie out of the whole school. Great, hey? I bet we have some adventures here. What do you think?
No child has ever spoken like this about anything. Least of all a holiday to a farm that they have apparently been sent to with absolutely no adults whatsoever. I'm not sure what it is about Look and Read and their consistently poor depictions of how to stop a child from being abducted by a dragon or a DJ, but God love them, they really don't care about children at all.
Here you are, you two. Out you get.
You sure, mister? I mean, there's nothing here.
And here's we go to Homeridge Farm. Dare say someone will be along to collect you.
There better be.
Okay, right, I don't want to keep harking on about the same thing, but let's just go over this. Two kids win a holiday to a farm. They travel with no adult supervision, get dropped off in a field and have to just stand in the elements for an indefinite amount of time. Then a dude wearing a leather jacket pulls up in a Land Rover and they just march on into that Land Rover without question. It's no wonder 85% of children in the 70s were abducted.
Hello, kids.
Hello, you two. Sorry we're late. You must be Debbie and Kieran, right?
That's right.
Hop in. I'm Mrs. Rudge.
I'm Mick. Hey, look at her hair. She's got a stripe down the middle like a little badger. Hello, Badger Girl. Rude.
The kids unquestionably take their seats in the Land Rover as Alvin Stardust and his mother ride off into the grey landscape of Dartmoor.
Wild ponies. I've heard about them.
You'll see plenty of them on Dartmoor.
Just grass and stuff.
Look, over there.
Grass.
That woman's called Jane Miles. She's a wildlife photographer. She's promised to help you with your projects, show you how to take photos and all that. You all have to do projects, don't you?
Yeah. I'm gonna do one about animals.
What, on a farm? Genius! How did you come up with that hard-hitting journalistic insight? Over at the farm, we find that the Dingles have already captured one child for their collection.
His name was Norman.
Started already, Norman?
I know what's what, Mrs. Rudge.
Norman's been here a week already, so we can show you round after tea. These are the London children, Norman, Kieran and Debbie.
But you can call her Badger Girl.
Badger Girl. Oh, I see.
I hate this. Let's go and watch a middle-aged woman work out what a BBC computer does.
Goodness, this looks interesting. Some sort of computer.
Oh, for fuck.
Who are you?
Wordy, at your service. Who are you?
Jane Miles, wildlife photographer. I'm looking after the centre.
Ha-ha, well, you've come to the right person if you want help. What's that folder? Something about...
Grass.
Oh, yes, it's about Badger Girl. I mean, it's about Debbie. And Kieran.
Eh?
It's their project folder from school. Oh, and it's about...
Stop!
Yes, please do.
Look.
Stop, stop, stop with S&T. If you ever get stuck.
This here's the remix.
If you ever get stuck. If you ever get stuck. Start again. Start again. If you ever get stuck.
Now, because this is Look and Read, we get to have the thing we've just watched repeated back to us, just in case we have the memory of a goldfish, followed by a boring documentary about farm animals narrated by the world's most irritating robot.
They need looking after.
Do you want to bring your bowls in now? Come and bring your bowls in. Would you like to come and help me milk the goat?
Now, that's an offer you can't refuse. I'm not sure if it was the original intention to make it look like Wordy had had a stroke, but I'm glad they sorted it out for later series, because now I'm just going to be fixated on his mouth for the rest of this shite. And the last thing I want to do is daydream about Wordy's gob.
Look, why don't you try this game on the computer? Every time you see a farm word, just press F for farm and put it into the field. If it isn't a farm word, you'll soon find out.
Okay. Come on then, word watchers. Let's round them up. Chicken, yes. That's a farm word. What's next now? Lamb, yes. That's a special farm word. And now... Spaceman? Now, anybody knows spaceman's not a special farm word. This is really easy.
You said it, lady. Not the best advertisement for the BBC Micro, is it?
Parrot, yes. Oh dear, no, it's not a special farm animal. Pig, yes. Yes, that's a farm animal.
I do love the way they're injecting their own sound effects to make this programme seem a little more exciting than the abject silence or annoying beeps it's likely farting out.
Pooh, silly old computer.
Watch your nose there, lad.
Press the key, Jane.
This one here?
Nope, we're not doing this again.
Magic, magic,
What a useful letter.
You're a useful letter. You're also a clumsy lummox. Pick those fucking books up. Let's get back to these shite bags.
I know what's what about farms. I've got 4 books on the country and I've read them all. First thing you've got to remember is the country code. You must always shut gates behind you. I read that in my farm book.
We now get to watch some children chase chickens and almost get mauled by a dog, and then Mick swaps his leather jacket for a lovely denim number, and the kid who wants to write a project on animals thinks he can just randomly jump on a wild horse like the fucking idiot he is.
I bet I could ride that little one.
Bet you couldn't.
Yahoo! Ride 'em, cowboy!
Hey, you can't ride these. These are wild ponies, not tame. Oh, I can see you kids are going to be trouble with a big T.
Sorry, Mick.
You got to be quiet, gentle with them. See? That's it, sunshine. There's a good girl.
You like the ponies, didn't you, Mick?
I do. And they like me too. I can do anything with ponies.
The less we know, the better.
What'd you do at night then?
Ponies.
People round here don't go out much at night.
Because of the beast.
What beast?
The beast of Dartmoor.
He's like a dog, but as big as a lion.
Yeah, he kills sheep.
Right, prediction number 1, this beast is going to turn out to be a badger. I'm basing that completely off nothing but the fact this is called Badger Girl, and it's the simplest, stupidest conclusion I can come up with. If I'm right, you all owe me a tenner.
They all went to bed right away. Debbie was so tired that she went straight to sleep. Suddenly, she woke up. Something was snuffling and scratching around outside.
Just give me that tenner now. There's only 2 animals that snuffle, and that's badgers and hedgehogs. And there's no way you think a lowly hedgehog is a bloodthirsty monster. Oh good, a cliffhanger. I wonder what she could have found. Get your wallets ready. £10, please. Now, as you'll all know, teaching children to get nice and close to a wild badger is most definitely the safest way to present this situation, and also most definitely won't lead to a TB outbreak, but Badger Girl is at least sensible enough to take it to a shed before she gets her face right in front of it and starts stroking it.
Pig used to live in here, but he went to market.
Yeah, apparently he's dead.
Lovely eggs, these, Mrs. Rudd. Can I have another one? He's had 2 already.
Mine's like turned into a chicken in Jaws.
I won't. I know what's what.
You can all have as many eggs as you like.
Top egg banter in the morning. That's the good life.
Mrs. Raj,
Yes, my dear.
do you ever see any badgers round here?
Why do you want to know about badgers?
Dunno. I thought I'm up to a project on them.
Well, there used to be a lot of badgers round here. Not anymore, though.
Farmers dug them out. That got rid of them.
What did they do that for?
Well, they're bad animals, badgers. They spread diseases.
Some people say so. I'm not so sure.
They do?
Mum's been on Facebook again. She's found the real science on badgers because she read a meme about it that Auntie Susan posted, and it said that badgers are actually 100% safe. And you can even eat their eggs because they're full of natural hormones like vitamin F and anthrax, which is good for the bones.
You see a badger around here, you tell me, and I'll shoot him.
Debbie gave some milk to her baby lamb. It was the only farm job she really liked. And Kieran fed the geese, but they were rather fierce.
Kieran's going to have a good job writing this animal project considering every animal under the sun hates him.
Listen, I've got a secret. Promise not to tell anyone, all right?
All right.
Norman, it's all right. Come on. Look, it's a badger.
Don't worry, he won't bite you. It's a stuffed badger.
Oh, so they will bite you if they're not taxidermied. I've been getting mixed signals, Look and Read. Sort your messaging out.
You all right, Jane? Jane?
Hello, word watchers. Hello, Jane. What's the matter?
Jane?
I can't stop snuffling and sneezing.
Oh, sounds like a bad case of S&N to me. I know a badger who has a lot of trouble with N.
What's that? Is it a rabbit? Is it a mole? No, it's Super Badger!
Things just ain't the same for
Badger! Badger!
Watch the lawsuits when they lost their dough.
Badger!
I've seen them come, I've watched them go.
Super Badger!
Watch them rise, witnessed it and watched them blow.
Super Badger!
It's all the same shit all across the globe.
Super Badger!
Follow your heart and don't question it, no matter where it tells you to go.
You all right, Jane?
Oh, Woody, I need some more tissues. Do you know where there are any?
Try the dark room, Jane.
Dark room?
The less we question why Wordy keeps his tissues in the dark room, the better.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Me.
Me who?
Me, Jane.
Me Tarzan then.
Do you think I should go in? All right.
Christ, that's terrifying.
Wordy, there's some sort of creature in the dark room.
Yes, I know. It's Barney the barn owl. I thought he would frighten your cold away.
That's not how colds work, Wordy. Stop teaching children wrong. Hopefully this infotainment piece on badgers will teach us some actual facts.
Badgers eat all kinds of things. Everything from beetles and worms to mice, hedgehogs and young rabbits.
Perfect, a meat eater. The children will be perfectly fine to stick their fingers near its face. Back to TB McGee and the Idiot Crew, Norman decides to read up on badgers really fucking slowly.
He looks hungry to me.
I wonder what badgers eat. Do you know, Norman?
I'll look it up in my animal book. Soon find out what's what. You can find out anything from books, you know. Norman knows what's what. Come on, then. Alphabetical order. A. B for badger. Badger. Nocturnal mammal. Lives on earthworms, roots, small insects, mice, etc. Also fond of eggs.
Eggs? Eggs?
Eggs.
Eggs?
Well, I don't like it.
Eggs?
I don't like it.
Eggs?
I don't like it.
Eggs, 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 eggs. Eggs. Hey, we've got plenty of eggs. I'll get some out the fridge.
Yes, your foster family is going to be well happy that you're feeding their produce to an animal that would happily eat the produce that produces that produce. Go and get yourself a pet fox while you're at it. Really fuck them off.
Eggs.
I think we can all sense that this guy is the bad guy of the piece, because every time he appears on screen it plays worrying music, even when he's not doing anything worrying other than wearing a leather jacket.
Oh, hello, Debbie. Just get me half a pound of butter out of the fridge, would you?
Right you are, Miss Rudge.
Debbie put the eggs carefully into her anorak pocket.
Smooth. No one will notice or suspect a thing.
They walked over to Stripey's pig pen. Debbie went inside.
Here you are, Stripey, mate. Breakfast. 1, 2, 3. Oh no.
Yeah, just hold your fingers out covered in delicious food stuff right in front of the badger's face. No worries, it'll all be fine.
Who's eating the lot? I'd like to know. Oh, would you believe it? They've got a badger in there.
He's not doing any harm. His name's Stripey. Oh, please let me keep him, Mrs. Rudge.
Well, that's where all my eggs went. I'm surprised at you.
So that's what all that badger talk was. Well, my friend, Mr. Barker, might be interested in a stuffed badger.
Don't let Mick shoot him, Mrs. Rudge. He's my pet.
I won't let him shoot it, Debbie. But that's a wild animal, not a pet. That badger has got to go by tomorrow morning.
But why not now?
Don't worry, mate. If you're going, I'm going with you.
Good. Take everyone else while you're at it.
It's not fair, though. Stripey's the only pet I ever had. And now you're going to get rid of him.
Maybe when you get home you could have a budgie or a rat or something.
Why is that funny? These people are sociopaths. Just let Badger Girl contract a life-threatening disease in peace, you horrible lot.
It's my mate. He wants to be with me.
Although, to be fair, she is being a bit bunny boiler about it. She only saw the badger for the first time this morning, and she's acting like it's been a family member for decades. Debbie wakes early with a plan to help her dearly beloved, and she goes to wake the boys up too.
Norman, wake up. Wake up, Norman. Can't wake him up.
Well, that's Norman dead.
If Stripey's got to go, I'm going too. I'm not staying here without him. Do you want to come or not?
I don't know.
You're the one who likes adventures, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, now's your chance.
3 episodes in now, and the list of things you shouldn't be teaching children to do is through the fucking roof. I'm surprised the kids aren't just idly jamming forks into plug sockets while they talk to each other. Anyway, unfortunately, it's time for Sneezy Susan to turn up, and Norman gets absolutely frazzled about everything.
Debbie found the badger, and Mrs. Rudge wouldn't let her keep it. So now she's run away with it, and so has Kieran. And we don't know where they've gone, and they'll get lost.
Calm your tits, Buck Boy. Back at base camp, we get to watch this woman spend 45 minutes working out the simplest of puzzles. Then the Magic E song comes on again, because it always does. And then it's time to venture back into the terrifying dark room.
Don't panic, Jane.
Woo!
Oh,
God, it's horrible.
I say, you are a beauty.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Come in, do.
Nice place you've got here.
Yes, it's very snug, isn't it? Do make yourself at home and take a part.
Oh, thank you. But I wanted to develop some photos I've taken. You might like to see them. I've got some very good shots.
Lovely, dear. I do think everyone should have a little hobby, don't you?
It can't even fucking blink properly. Also, Jane went from being petrified to not caring at all in one conversation. She's a braver woman than me.
I'll have you know, Mr. Barnow, that I'm a professional wildlife photographer. It's my job.
Oh, dear, there's no need to get in a flap. I didn't know you could make a living taking wildlife photographs.
Well, you can.
Time for a boring education section.
Eric Ashby films badgers. Because they're so shy, he has to camouflage the camera and make sure he's in the right position so the wind won't carry his scent to them. Then he keeps still and waits. And after a lot of waiting, badgers.
Well,
Well, what?
what did you see in the dark?
Badgers.
Dog detective is chasing a What a wonderful sound.
Not like that.
It's that sound again.
Dog detective is chasing AO. Dog detective is chasing AO.
It's that sound again.
What?
That sound again.
Badgers.
I wonder if he knows the country code. None of the children did before they came to Dartmoor. Do you remember when Norman forgot to shut the gate and let all the chickens out?
I do. But all the children who come here to the wildlife centre...
Okay, Woody's stroke just got worse. He's now fully paralysed. Regardless, episode 3, and they've well and truly run out of steam when it comes to pushing this story forward, because Jane's boring segments, where she does bugger all, take up 50% of the runtime on this one. Let's get back to it, for fuck's sake.
They must have gone early. There was no sign of him at breakfast time. And taken the badger with them.
That's a pity. I'd like to have taken a picture of him.
Yes, everyone is very upset that you couldn't take a picture of a badger. Forget the 2 missing children, that's the real tragedy here.
You don't expect me to help. I got a job on for Mr. Barker.
I'm telling you, every adult in the show has zero empathy for anyone or anything.
They might get lost on the moor, and then a beast might get them.
Don't get in a panic, Norman. Jane's right. They can't have gone far.
Why are you not looking for them?
Go and get your anorak. We'll get started straight away.
What?
Of course Norman wears a fucking anorak.
When Norman put on his anorak, he found Debbie's note.
Gone with Stripey. Look for paper trail. Don't tell anyone. Debbie. Badger girl.
Did you really need to sign it off with Badger Girl? Are there multiple Debbies at the farm today?
Debbie and Kieran had gone a long way by now. They were still leaving a paper trail for Norman.
That's their trail? Pieces of paper left on the floor in the middle of a field? I know these kids are from the city, but do you not have wind there?
But they weren't alone on the moor.
Come on, Stripey. Stripey. Come on, Stripey.
Just 2 kids. And a dog, I think.
Nothing to worry about then, Mr. Deal.
Nothing to worry about, Mr. Barker.
Where's that boy Mick got to, I wonder?
Finally, some proper bad guys. And it turns out I was right about Mick and his worrying music soundtrack. God, I'm good at second-guessing this TV show designed specifically for children.
Come on, there he goes again. Look, he's gone in. See, I told you he was taking us home. He's got his own house. Let's go and see.
They jumped over the wall and ran down the path to the wooden hut.
Hello? Anyone there?
There was no answer, so they tiptoed inside. It was snug and dry, with a bed and a table, and pictures of badgers on the walls.
Badgers.
We can probably add that to the list as number 15 of what not to teach children to do, right? Wandering into a weird old man's cabin, especially when said weird old man has pictures of page 3 badgers all over the gaff. These kids are definitely dead now. Start of episode 4, absolutely slaughtered. If I'm right, you owe me a tenner.
What can I do for you?
Oh, they're still alive. You can keep your tenner.
Tell me what you're doing here.
Sorry, mister. This your place, is it?
Yes, it is.
Well, it would be a bit weird if he also didn't live here. Just a house full of strangers who don't belong there. And a badger.
You're staying with Mrs. Rudd?
Yeah, at Homeridge Farm.
What are your names?
I'm Kieran, and she's Debbie.
Don't you think Mrs. Rudd will be getting worried about you?
She should have said I couldn't keep my pet.
I think we ought to talk about that. Now, I can see that Stripey, as you call him, has taken quite a fancy to you. But I'm afraid he's not your pet.
Yes, he is. You're just like all the rest you are.
No, I never let me have a pet before.
I'm starting to think that Badger Girl's only character trait is complain about literally everything, which is honestly surprising considering she walked out of the hairdresser looking like that.
Now, I know who you are. My name's Sam North. Around here, people call me the Badger Man.
They're not very good at nicknames around here, are they?
Why'd they call you the Badger Man?
It's a long story.
He fucks badgers. Case closed.
Try to protect them from their enemies.
What enemies? You mean like the Beast of Dartmoor?
No. Men.
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 Men. That's why I like badgers better than people.
So's your pet, really?
No, he's not. Oh, he's used to humans now. He's all right. He's half tame, though. Not ready to go free yet. But he will when he's ready. When I can find a really safe place for him.
But I want him to be my pet. Can't I have him if you don't want him?
He can be your friend. Not your pet, though.
Stop allowing strangers to hug you in their cabin.
Jane, what's the word for a badger's home?
It's called a set. Look. Here's a picture of a badger's underground set.
I think badgers are really interesting.
So do I. And so do Debbie and Kieran and Norman. Do you remember they met a man called Sam North who knew all about badgers?
They don't really bite your leg off, do they?
No, of course not.
Yet to be proven, but we're still holding out hope.
But they live at peace with most other animals. It's man who's their worst enemy.
Hold up, they live at peace with most other animals. Let me just wind to a previous episode.
Badgers eat all kinds of things. Everything from beetles and worms to mice, hedgehogs and
men.
This is just badger propaganda at this point. Badger-gander.
Woody, I've written a poem about badgers.
Oh, have you? Well, come on then, let's hear it.
B is for badgers, A is for animal, G is for badgers, E is for eat.
What a good poem. And you read it beautifully.
Yes, and she read it a bit sadly too.
Well, it is a bit sad.
You can say that again, pal.
I see lots of words ending in ly. Now, they tell you how to do something. Perhaps you'd like to play the ly game.
Oh, yes. Come on, Adrian.
Wait till the computer gives you an ly word, and I'll tell you what to do.
Badly.
Ah, right. James, will you sing badly?
Magic, magic, eh.
Oh,
that won't do.
Polly put the kettle on. Polly put the kettle on.
That's quite enough.
Has anyone been hurting you, Barney?
No. This RSPCA man is a scientist, and owls are his special subject. That means he studies us and knows all about us.
Oh, I see.
Look, you'd better put up this sign outside too. I don't want him to miss me.
All right, Barney, I'll put your sign up, and I'll keep my eyes open for the RSPCA man.
Good. And I'll keep my eyes open too.
Barely.
I think that owl's a bit confused. Wordy, what do you think of Barney's sign?
This way of the barn owl? Oh dear, he's as muddled as another bird I know.
You.
Barney didn't check his first letter, and he wrote the wrong word.
Stop taking the piss out of the barn owl. It's astonishing he can write at all. Not because he's an owl, but because he's a hideous fucking limbless nightmare. Anyway, after complaining about the last episode having barely any story, this one's even worse. Away with all of you dickheads. I want to see if the kids are dead yet.
See that church on the hill, Norman? That's Cross Tor. Have to change the lens on my camera to get a good shot of it. Want to help me?
No. I'll go this way, shall I? I think I saw some lambs further on.
Okay.
There is absolutely zero urgency in finding these children at all, from anyone. It's genuinely baffling to watch. Norman wanders off, following bits of paper, and then just sits down to talk to himself for a bit.
Norman the great tracker. I bet I find them. Bet they'll be glad to see me. They'll have got properly lost by now. And they'll be worrying about the beast. I'm not worried. I know what's what. Might get my picture in the paper. Brave boy finds lost children. That'd be good. That's funny. Oh no, the wind must have blown it.
Well, who could have foreseen such a thing?
But which way? Jane!
Oh, don't worry, Norman. I'm sure an adult will urgently come looking for you at some point this week.
Excuse me?
Oh, just another kid.
Excuse me, did you know you're not supposed to feed them?
Clear off, son.
No, Mr. Deal. He's quite right. Clever boy, this.
I read it in my Dartmoor book.
Oh, it's very good. Very good. But it's all right, though. You see, we're, RSPCA men. Do you know what that means?
Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals.
Excellent. You see? Got a very clever boy here. Yes. We've had reports of pony rustlers in these parts, and we're on the lookout for them.
Okay, well, I'm guessing Kojak and Captain Birdseye here are pony rustlers? Tenors in the post, please. Although, is it actually rustling if they don't belong to anyone?
You do see anybody who looks as if they might be after the ponies, you ring the RSPCA.
Right, I'll keep my eyes open.
That's a good boy.
Norman was so interested in the ponies that he'd forgotten all about the paper trail. He'd even forgotten he didn't know where he was.
Thus cementing Norman's legacy as an absolutely beef-witted moron.
Don't panic, Norman. Got to find the trail again.
He looked all round and saw a piece of paper where the van had started.
There it is! Great! Barker and Deal. Livestock import and export.
Well, if that's their way of advertising, it appears that it's only effective on lost children who probably aren't the target audience for stolen horses. Anyway, Jane's situational awareness finally kicks in.
Right. That'll do, Norman. Norman! Oh, no. Norman!
Good work, responsible adult. The only person making sure these kids are alright is a complete stranger who lives in a badger's grot hole.
Sorry I'm late, Mr. Barker. Bit of bother at the farm. You haven't seen any kids wandering about, have you?
Kids? We've seen nothing but kids. 2 of them down by the woods there, and another up on the hill.
Good descriptive locations there. The field and the hill. Not too many of those in Dartmoor.
How about our little scheme, Mick?
Oh, that's all fine, Mr. Barker. Sorting you out a nice little bunch. I'll let you know tomorrow for definite.
Usual way?
Usual way.
Excellent, Mick. You're worth your weight in ponies, eh? That's pretty good, that, eh, Mr. Deal?
Ponies.
Ponies?
Now, Norman, who apparently knows what's what because he tells us 15 times per episode, has decided that the best way to stop being lost is to venture into the woods. Chalk that up as number 73 on your Please Don't Teach My Children this list. Thankfully, he's met a badger who he instinctively knows is stripy for some reason, and he ventures deeper into the woods under the safe and watchful eye of a wild animal.
I wonder what Jane's doing. Jane, what are you doing? Jane? Jane?
Jane.
Hello. I'm looking at the picture Kieran drew of Barker and Deal.
I'm Francis Drake and I'm looking for a lake, but all I've found is that old school, new school remix. I'm Francis Drake and I'm looking for a lake, but all I've found is that oh sound. Ooh, ooh. It's all around. Oh, it's all around. It's all around. And that's good.
He's as bad as Norman. He was always getting lost.
I mean, he's gotten lost no more times than every other child on the show. I'm not sure why you're singling Norman out. They're all fucking morons.
Did the RSPCA man come?
He did, and I was able to tell him everything he wanted to know about barn owls.
Are you sure he was an RSPCA man?
Yes, he was wearing an RSPCA uniform, and he told me all about his work.
Oh, like rescuing cats from trees?
Cats from trees? You must be out of your brilliant mind.
The RSPCA looks after animals which are unwanted or have been mistreated, and helps them in several ways. First, there are clinics and hospitals where people can bring animals to be seen by a vet. That's an animal doctor.
Why does everyone in this segment look like a Romanian prisoner of war? In fact, why does all of the footage in these documentary segments look about 20 years older than anything else? Did they just have this footage lying around and they finally decided to use it? If so, why did they just have random footage of a man carrying a swan around like a handbag? I know there was only a handful of TV channels back then, but surely they had better things to do.
I think it's time for a nice cup of tea.
Good to see Wordie's got his Sports Direct mug on the go. But enough of this shite, let's see if Norman's dead in a lake.
Hello, Norman.
Oh no, he coincidentally bumped into everyone in the Dartmoor wilderness, because that's just what happens out there. It seems massive, but it's actually just a few metres squared.
You're nearly back now. Straight over that ridge. You'll see the farm from there.
Thanks, Mr. North.
What about a cup of tea at the farm?
No, thank you, Debbie. I tell you, I'm not fond of men. I like Badger best. Goodbye.
He seemed a funny sort of man to me. He's all right. He's the Badger man. Got this smashing little house full of pictures and books of badgers. Looked like a suspicious character to me. Like a pony rustler.
Pony rustler?
I met 2 RSPCA men looking for pony rustlers. Maybe that's what your badgerman does.
Norman, your danger radar needs recalibrated. You don't know what's what at all.
I know what's what.
No, you fucking don't.
He must be a man.
There were 2 RSPCA men. They left this paper behind.
Doesn't say anything on here about RSPCA. You are at your mind, Jules.
But at breakfast next day, there was something interesting in the paper. It was about pony rustling.
Now then, I didn't say much yesterday because I was so glad to see you back in one piece. And no harm done. But no more wandering off, please, without telling anyone where you're going.
All right, Mrs. Rudge, we'll be careful.
Debbie? Kieran, are you listening to me?
Kieran has literally just responded to you, you mad bat. I think they're safer out there with the badgers than with this ignorant trout who sat around on her arse all day while the kids were out meeting strange men.
Barker and Dill. Mick works for a man called Barker. Let's ask him.
Mick was in the yard, working on his bike. He'd just been on one of his ponies.
Is Mr. Barker in the RSPCA?
Mr. Barker, in the RSPCA, no, not exactly.
Is he a bald man with a white van?
Yeah, that's right. What about him?
I saw him yesterday. He was telling me about pony rustling.
Now listen, you kids. You forget about pony rustling. Mr. Barker was having a joke with you, Norman. You forget about ponies. You stick to your badgers.
Not a suspicious response at all.
Mick walked angrily away. The children wondered what was wrong.
He's gone insane.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Mick knows something about pony rustling.
That's right.
And those 2 men, Barker and Dill, they're part of it too, somehow.
No, they're not. How can they be? They're RSPCA men. They told me.
Norman's ignorance has now reached peak levels.
Barker and Dill. That word says export. Exporters.
That means sending things out of the country.
Livestock? What's that?
Lucky these kids have 3 brain cells to rub together, and surely Norman's on board now the evidence is laid out before him.
It means they don't look after animals.
Yeah.
They buy and sell them. Or maybe steal them.
Yeah.
Rustle them.
Yeah.
And Mick knows about it.
Yeah. We follow Mick and see where he's going.
But we can't do that. We promised we wouldn't wander off again.
It's not wandering off. We keep him in sight.
Anyway, look. He's going towards Cross Tor. It's all right to go that way. Come on, before he gets out of sight.
Yeah, come on, Norman.
All right, but I bet you anything you're wrong.
God, it's just the worst. The kids decide to follow Mick, who's off to do some rock climbing in his leather jacket, and as per usual in this look and read fiasco, they do the best thing children can do in this situation, and follow a suspected criminal into a disused church. They'll be dead by the next story segment, guaranteed.
A secret passage.
Let's take a look inside.
The three children crept in.
I'm just showing the children Debbie's drawing of Cross Tor. I expect they'll want to tell you what a tor is.
It's a hill, a rocky one. I think badgers are really interesting.
Eat apes! Oh, hello, word watchers. I'm in a terrible 8. Somebody's stolen 2 of my letters.
Which ones?
Well, I can't say them because they've gone.
You've just used multiple words featuring your stolen letters, you absolute fraud.
I was really stuck without S&T.
You were very cross with me, Wordy. Why didn't you put it right yourself?
Huh, you know I'm not a magic man, Jane.
There, Wordy. All right. It's just that Barney was cross with me yesterday, too.
He was wearing an RSPCA uniform, and he told me all about his work.
Oh, like rescuing cats from trees?
Oh, you slime! Or I will cut you dead where you lay.
That bird, he's so conceited. He thinks he's so handsome and clever.
Oh, I think it's time to do my exercises. Must keep fit if you live in a little dark room, you know. Here goes. Up.
Jesus Christ, stop making it move, it's hideous.
I'm going to have to look for some clues. There's a piece of writing here with a word I can't read. We watched Mick climb Cross Tor until he was nearly at the...
Come on then, word watchers. Let's do what Dog Detective said. Look in front.
He was nearly at the somewhere.
Good work, Jane, I'm sure that's the answer.
It smelled damp and cold and creepy.
It smelled creepy, that's a new one on me. After 15 minutes of fannying around in the dark, Badger Girl states the obvious.
We're in the church.
Thanks, lass. Not sure where you thought you were going, but it's good to narrate your surroundings every now and then.
Why did Mick come here?
Maybe to meet someone, but they didn't turn up.
No, he would have waited a bit longer, wouldn't he? I think he must have come here to leave a message or something.
Well, anyone can see that there isn't anything here. Come on, let's go back. I'm hungry.
Norman is the absolute worst person on earth, I swear.
Hey, look at this. It's a sort of map.
Yeah.
Not much of a map. Hasn't got a north and south marked on it.
Let's take it anyway.
No, let's copy it and see who comes for it. I bet you anything it's the Badger Man.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Except we haven't got any paper.
I've got my project book. I always carry it.
Right, while this lot toss about, let me ask this question. Mick went into this church the same way the kids did, and this is a tiny church with one room, 2 entrances, one of which was locked, and then the secret entrance that they all just went through. So where the fuck has Mick gone?
Shh, listen. I think I can hear something.
There we are. I think that's right.
Quick! There's someone coming up the hill.
Quite a little climb, Mr. Deal.
Yes. I don't know why he picked a place like this.
The gate was locked, but Barker had a key. The children watched from the secret passage.
Another question, why have the bad guys gone to the trouble of organising a drop-off point for a map in a disused church? Why didn't Mick just hand it to them when he next saw them? None of this makes any sense, and where have all the badgers gone? It's all about bloody horses now, and I, for one, did not sign up for bloody horses.
Pokey little place. Gives me the creeps. And there's some sort of funny smell in it.
It smelled damp.
You're imagining things.
I don't imagine things.
See this cross? That's where he's bringing the ponies. And here's where we bring the big van.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I guess this is my final question. Why on earth did they even need a map in the first place?
What's that?
What?
Someone there.
It's only kids.
Only kids? We've come across those kids too often. Kids can be a real pain.
Don't you worry, Mr. Deal. You let Barker look after things. By tomorrow evening, those ponies will be over the sea in France.
Well, that'll be nice for them. I don't know why everyone is so upset with these guys. They just want to take the horses on holiday. Christ, Norman, do something right in your life.
Come on, Jaws.
I've no idea at which point Badger Girl started to call Norman Jaws, or why she started doing that, or if that's even what she is calling him, but that's a thing she does now, so get used to it. Also, I never mentioned it in the last episode because there were so many stupid plot-holy moments all piling up on one another. I glossed over it as yet another thing that was incredibly stupid, but something that wouldn't be brought up again. Alas, they immediately bring it up at the start of this episode.
It was your fault anyway, if you hadn't popped that bubble gum.
Yeah, sorry. I just didn't think.
So here's the thing, right? The reason the bad guys knew the kids were there was because Badger Girl was chewing bubblegum and inexplicably decided to blow a bubble while they were hiding. This was also the smell that Captain Birdseye picked up on.
Gives me the creeps. And there's some sort of funny smell in here.
You're imagining things.
I don't imagine things. It's sweets or something.
Now, I'm not sure what brand of chewing gum Badger Girl has managed to get her hands on, a brand that can stink out the entirety of a church, but I think it's worth mentioning just how sloppy this storytelling is in general, because the only other times you ever see Badger Girl with bubblegum is in the very first episode, where it's barely even touched on. You see her chew it on the bus, and she blows a bubble while waiting to be picked up. We then don't see her with bubblegum again until episode 5, where she idly chews it in the background of this scene, to the point where you probably wouldn't even notice it unless you were being an absolute psychopath and rewatching every single episode to find all of the scenes where Badger Girl has bubblegum in her mouth. Now, just prior to their entry into the church, in episode 6, we see that Badger Girl is not chewing anything at all, but then, when they're in the damn tunnel, she's suddenly blowing bubbles with chewing gum. Something we have only ever seen her do literally a single time throughout this entire story 5 episodes ago. I'm bringing all of this up because it's the laziest of lazy contrivances shoehorned into the story that could easily have been sprinkled throughout the scenes prior to this moment to give it a more natural place in the structure of this incredibly boring story about stealing horses off no one. The breakfast scene. Add a bit where the mum says, "Oh, Badger Girl, you should stop chewing on that chewing gum, you landlubber." Maybe do a bit where she tries to feed the badger bubblegum because she's a flappy-brained idiot who doesn't know any better, and Norman can go, "I know what's what. Badgers only eat egg-flavoured bubblegum. I read it in my book about tuberculosis." Just anything. Anything at all that doesn't just have Badger Girl randomly chewing bubblegum in this one scene for no fucking reason. Because it's never been fully established that this is a thing that Badger Girl enjoys doing. And you may well sit there and think, oh, but this is just a story for children, it doesn't matter. But that just makes it even worse, because this kind of thing should be signposted every 3 minutes to make sure their tiny idiot minds absolutely understand exactly what is happening so that they can feel clever when they see the payoff. This should have been a Vin Diesel's gun moment. This should have been exactly like that scene in Vin Diesel's blockbuster hit, XXX, where we get a scene in which Mr. Diesel is shown a load of cool James Bond-style gadgets by his obvious Q stand-in, and the film takes a very, very long time to explain this one specific gun, and how this one specific gun has very specific bullets that do a very specific thing.
These are tranquilizer and blood splatter darts. All the appearance of a kill shot without the after effects. You know, like death.
And a normal-brained human will watch that scene and go, you know, I reckon that gun's going to be very important later on in the story. But XXX knows that it's not a film for normal-brained humans. It's a film for people who spend 50% of their time checking their phone or picking their arse. So, right after this extensive explanation scene of the special gun with the special bullets that does the special thing, Vin Diesel immediately finds himself in a situation where he has to use the special bullets and the special gun to do the special thing. Vin Diesel's XXX does a better job of communicating with 8-year-olds than Badger Girl does. Anyway, I've stopped being angry about that now. Let's carry on.
So what do you think now, Norman? Your RSPCA men. Are they baddies or are they goodies?
Well, I think maybe I was wrong. Barker and Dill weren't RSPCA men at all.
So they tell lies, right? And they have mysterious meetings.
And they were talking about ponies and a big van. They've got a small van. What do they need a big van for?
You can't just make Badger Girl chew bubblegum retrospectively. It's not how story beats work. Don't make it a thing after it's already become a plot point, you shitehawks.
And this is the way you went to the Badgerman's hut. Here's Cross Tor, where we went today. That means a church.
And look at this on Mick's map. This must be Cross Tor. And these trees he's drawn here. These might be this wood here, see? So they must be keeping the ponies here, in this wood.
Once again, what was the point of this map? Why wouldn't you just say, I'll meet you in the wood behind the church? Contrivances out the arse. Badger Girl writers, you should be ashamed of how upset you've made this grown man.
Let's go and see the Badgerman and tell him about it.
They were lucky. The Badger Man was at home.
This is probably my favourite sentence from any Look and Read story. Anyway, the kids repeat the entire plot back to Badger Man just to ensure we've now been told exactly what's happening 15 times.
Oh, there you are.
Hello, Jane. Sorry we're late.
I was worried about you. I thought you might have wandered off and got lost.
Oh, now you care when children wander off and get lost.
Barker and Deal look as if they might be crooks, don't they?
Yes. The kind of crooks who steal ponies. Pony rustlers.
The Badger Man said they steal them and take them across the sea to sell as meat in France.
Which they then conveniently sell back to us.
Why has this box got a cross on it?
What, this one here?
Yes.
Well, if you look over here, down here, there, you see? That shows you that there's a church there. There aren't all that many churches on Dartmoor.
I have no idea how this works.
What do you think these little trees tell you?
That there's a forest.
Yes.
Got it. Trees mean trees. Thanks, Jane.
Dartmoor is a huge area of moorland. It's famous for its moorland, and the rocky hilltops called moorland. There's also Dartmoor Prison, right in the middle of the moor. Any prisoner who escapes has to cross the moor to get to freedom.
Wait, why are you talking about escaping prisoners? Is that a thing that happens often enough that it warrants bringing it up in a children's educational segment? Barney's having a wank in the dark room again.
You haven't a mouse on you, have you?
Certainly not. What do you want a mouse for?
Lunch. I'm feeling a bit peckish, and lunch might make me feel better.
I don't like the sound of your lunch at all.
Oh, well, not a lot of sympathy from you.
Jane is such a bitch to that owl. No wonder he hates her.
Let me show you my O poem. It's called The Lonely Goat. The lonely goat began to moan. Why must I stay here on my own? I have no cloak, I have no coat. I am so cold, groaned the lonely goat. I am so cold. Lonely goat.
Do you know what he wanted me to get for him?
No.
A mouse. To eat. Ugh.
You said that rather grimly. Oh, I know. Shall we play the LY game to cheer you up?
God, please no. Jane is looking at photos with the kids. I wonder if, by sheer happenstance, there'll be something interesting in the background of one of those pictures.
Oh, there's Barker and Dill's van.
Yes. It is funny. Those two keep turning up in the background.
Oh my goodness, it's like it writes itself.
Hello, Miss Miles. Hello, Badger Girl. How's your mate Stripey?
It's all right.
Oh, now, don't look at me like that. I didn't mean it. About shooting him. Well, is tea ready? I'm hungry. I'll eat as many cakes as you can today, Norman.
Mick, you know pony rustlers? You know what they do with the ponies?
They sell them up north for riding ponies, I've heard.
No, they don't. The Badger Man told us. They go for horse meat. And it's terrible. And I...
It isn't true. I don't believe it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mick's half-hearted, upset reactions may be the greatest thing about this entire series. Like he's been told to act angry, but not too angry, because this is for kids. Just do a little bit angry.
What are they talking about, eh? No one's gonna hurt you, are they?
Later that evening, the children had a nasty surprise.
Oh, no. I think we got Mick's map wrong. Look, see that photo? There's Barker and Dill's van again, but that church isn't the one we were in. There's two churches, one on top of Cross Tor and the other next to Brock Tor. There's the road.
And that bit must be the lake.
So here's where they'll bring the ponies.
Oh, Kieran, that means the police have turned up at the wrong place.
So just tell them.
Well, I'm calling it. This was the worst episode so far. It basically involved repeating the story back to us 15 times, and the only thing he could consider as moving the story forward was that the kids finally worked out the world's smallest map. No wonder it takes 10 episodes to get through these bloody stories.
But early next morning, Debbie found she'd overslept.
Oh no, we've overslept.
It's good when both the narrator and the characters are on the same page.
Mick's already gone off on his bike.
I know, I heard him. Well, get dressed quick then. I don't need to. Slept in my clothes. The only thing is, I slept a bit too long. But what are we going to do? We'll never get there in time. Might as well have breakfast.
I think the lack of urgency runs through every single character in this story. All anyone ever wants to do is eat eggs and wait for everything to blow over.
Eggs?
With Norman still half asleep and grumbling, they tiptoed out of the farmhouse. They tiptoed out of the farmhouse. They tiptoed out of the farmhouse.
Come on, we better jog it.
Debbie and Kieran went fast, and soon Norman was getting left behind.
Hurry up, Norman! I'm coming. I feel worse flat some breakfast inside me. What now?
Norman, why do you exist? Also, I think this was a misfired Vin Diesel's gun moment because they gave us the setup one episode ago when Norman fell over, but this was literally the only time he'd ever fallen over before. And secondly, it's just falling over. It doesn't really need a setup, does it? Every fucker falls over.
All right, you take it steady.
Debbie and Kieran tiptoed. Norman did his best to keep up, but it was no use.
8:15 cross tour. We've been here about half an hour. No sign of activity.
I can't think what's happened.
Maybe we got here too late.
No, I've been up since first light. It can't be that. I'm sorry. I'm sure this is the place the children said.
Well, even if they were waiting at the correct place, I don't think any pony rustlers are going to turn up when there's a police car sat at the meeting point with a photographer and what they'll likely presume is a Midsummer Murders-style detective.
There may be pony rustling going on, but not round here.
I think you should wait a bit longer.
Good heavens, what happened to you? Where are the other children?
I got it wrong about where we're supposed to go.
You went to the wrong meeting place.
Yes, then when I realised it was wrong, I came straight here. So I tripped over a stone.
Is Jane living in some sort of parallel timeline where whatever happens in the story also happens in this weird cabin?
Is it hurting?
It's not too bad if I keep rubbing it.
Well, at least you're not grumbling. I see. Would you like a song to cheer you up?
Yes, please.
All right.
All together now. Rub it, 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 rub it.
It's not too bad if I keep rubbing it.
Is that better?
Yes, thanks.
Well, you've been so brave. Would you like to come and talk to an owl in the dark room?
Would you like to come and see the owl in the dark room? That's not an offer you ever want to say yes to.
I did put up a notice saying, please, no visitors. I'm not feeling very sociable today.
Your sign didn't say that. Did it, Oben?
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did, Oben.
No, it didn't.
Concentrate, Ben. I know your mum's behind the camera, but focus on your lines.
See? He's here. I told you he'd come straight to the centre. Are you all right? Yes, I've had a great time.
You've had a great time. You broke your ankle and got shouted at by an owl. I dread to think what your life's been like up to this point. We get to watch a big, long, boring documentary about badgers, again. Then Jane stands in front of a picture of a badger having a shit while she explains more things about badgers that they've already told us. Then the Magic E song. And by God, do these things repeat harder than pickled eggs on a hot day. Back to the story, the kids are still trying to work out the world's simplest map.
Which way do you think we should go?
Well, if this map is right, it ought to be this way. Up that slope, and then we should see a little wood on the other side.
Well done. Nothing like a map for finding your way.
I know what's what. Oh no.
What?
Norman hasn't got a map, has he? He's going to get lost again.
He'll be all right.
Zero concern for anyone. A story full of psychopaths.
Well, well, well. Grab him, Mr. Deal.
I think we've seen these kids about once too often, Mr. Barker. I think they're up to no good.
You sure this up to no good? You're pony rustlers.
What a dreadful thing to say.
We can't let them go now, Mr. Barker.
No, indeed we can't. I think I know just the place for them. Into the van with them, Mr. Deal.
There was nothing the children could do.
There's nothing the children could do now, but there was about 400 better solutions leading up to this situation that would have prevented it from happening altogether.
But someone else was already near the hut. Someone with a stripe down his head.
Out of the van.
For a second there, I was convinced they were going to drown them, and I was all for it. Unfortunately, all they do is lock them in Badger Man's shed, which begs 101 questions all of its own. But I've only got 2 more episodes to suffer through, so I'm just going to let those questions dangle in the wind like a badger's balls. Important Mick news, we've got a new, different jacket. The man's got a walk-in closet.
You found us some excellent ponies.
Look, Mr. Barker, there's something I want to ask you.
Of course. Anything you like, my dear chap, but do hurry up, eh? Big van should be here in a minute and you can help us load them in.
What's going to happen to the ponies?
Oh, you don't want to bother about that. You've done your job.
I want a straight answer. Someone told me they go for horse meat.
Really? Who told you that?
It doesn't matter. Is it true?
Careful how you answer this. He might blow his top and crush a grape.
Yes, it is, Mick. It's very sad, but there it is.
But you told me you'd sell them for riding ponies.
More money in meat.
Right, I'm gonna let them go then.
Better not try, son, or you'll get this.
Mick couldn't fight the 2 men on his own. He needed to get help.
I'll be back.
If Arnold Schwarzenegger had had that accent, I don't think Terminator would have been quite so successful.
I can do anything with ponies.
These 2 criminals are doing a terrible job of just letting everyone know what their plan is and then letting the witnesses roam around willy-nilly.
There was only one person who could help now.
That's a badger, not a person. Anyway, Norman's talking to himself again.
All very well, this tracking. But there aren't any tracks anymore. Wish I had a map with me. Never mind, I'll be in the paper yet. Brave boy rescues ponies. Except I don't know where I am. I'm lost again. Don't panic, Norman. Let's go this way. Oh, great, there's a hut. Maybe someone's there. Maybe they've seen the pony rustlers. Oh, my ankle.
Honestly, I think Norman's monologues match the same length as his dialogues at this point. Look and Reed is not a big fan of show, don't tell, and insists that everyone tells us everything over and over again, even if they're on their own, which Norman frequently is because nobody wants to be around him in his constant shit catchphrases.
Hey, Norman, that was brilliant finding us like that. How did you know where to look?
I know what's what.
I mean, seriously, shut the fuck up.
I hope this tap doesn't become a tape.
Yes, something we all worry about on a regular basis.
I think it's an old tea bag.
She's in the early stages of dementia.
Barney, are you in there?
Come in, do.
I can't open it.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, someone explain to me how the fuck that works. Quadrupling down on the old repetition, we get the Magic E song twice, another song we've already heard, more badger facts, and God am I sick to death of hearing about bloody badgers, more badgers and more bricklayers. They're all the bloody same.
First thing
you do in a boat? Just put your life jacket on.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Norman. It's just a bit of water.
I know what's what.
I swear, they've managed to Flanderise Norman at a rate I've never seen before. He's gone from saying, I know what's what roughly once an episode, to now saying it every other sentence.
While the children were on the lake, Mick was riding as fast as he could to the Badger Man's hut. He raced up to him on his bike, all out of breath.
Out of breath from what?
You went to the wrong place. The ponies are in the wood by the lake. I brought them there myself. I should know.
Did you? Then why aren't you helping the pony rustlers now?
I'm finished with them. They told me it was riding ponies. They wanted them for horse meat all the time. Look, that's the honest truth. You've got to help. Get the police again. Come as quick as you can.
Look, where exactly?
The little wood, the other side of the lake. You'll see.
The vast majority of this episode now takes place on a boat, outside one bit where Kojak falls over and squeezes some poo. And then the kids are headed toward a waterfall, and that's it. They ran out of plot 4 episodes ago, so I guess I have to do something to build up to a finale. As we enter the final chapter, the narrator desperately tries to make this all sound very exciting.
The children are going to go over the dam if Mick doesn't save them. Mick's told the Badger Man to get the police and come as quickly as he can.
You've only got one chance!
You've only got one chance or you're all dead. Also, look at this. They're fucking miles away from that waterfall, in the most still waters you could have hoped for. And they're close enough to the bank they could have easily just jumped out and saved themselves.
The Badger Man's coming with the police.
Yeah, we'll go. But Mick,
What?
if the police are there, I mean, won't you get into trouble?
We've got to try and save those ponies. Now come on, hurry up!
None of them saw Stripey trotting after them.
Hello.
Goodbye.
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 Toodaloo.
Only one last bit of it left.
Oh, don't say that wordy. You'll start me sniffing again.
Oh, no. Not S&N back.
You're right, Jane.
It really has brought the whole holiday back, having Debbie and Kieran's project folder.
It wasn't really a holiday, was it? It was child endangerment on a scale we've never seen before.
Ponies. Badgers. Ponies. Ponies. Well now, I'm going to have a go at getting Barney to come to the party.
Jane invites Barney to a party, even though all she ever does is argue with the thing, and then she suggests inviting the stuffed badger because she's got no real friends and she's also fucking mental. Her party games include such excellent crowd pleasers as Make a Word and listening to songs we've all heard 1,000 times over before we finally get back to the conclusion no one cares about anymore.
Mick and the children arrived just as they were about to drive off.
We're too late. Look, they're going to get away with it.
Not if I can help it.
I thought you said the Badgerman was coming with the police.
He keeps calling him Badgerman instead of Badgerman. It's not his surname, Norman. He wasn't born Barry Badgerman and then coincidentally went on to live out his retirement years sleeping with a badger.
Barker! Dio! We've got you surrounded!
Take no notice. It's only Mick and those 3 kids.
Right then, I'm coming for you!
Mick proves himself to be absolutely useless in a conflict, as do all of the children, so it's time for Vin Diesel's gun to finally go off.
Look, Norman, Stripey!
Oh, good. What a pleasant surprise. I've always wanted a stuffed badger. Give me your stick, Mr. Deal. I'll just knock him on the head.
Go for the neck, Stripey. The neck.
All right. All up, you badger. Oh, I've had enough.
You just stay there, Mr. Deal. We know what's what.
Please, Stripey, take Norman down while you're there.
Don't worry, officer. we'll go quietly. You just keep that beastly badger away from me.
They took Barker and Deal to the police station.
Wait, shouldn't Mick be arrested as well? He wasn't exactly innocent in all of this. He just had a change of heart right at the end. He still committed crime, and he should be given life imprisonment.
It was nearly the end of the holiday. Jane Miles and the Badger Man took the children deep into a secret wood. They tiptoed along without making a sound.
Just stay very quiet.
There he is, Stripey.
That's right. He's gone back to the wild, where he belongs.
Won't he be lonely?
Not Tim. Look there.
He's got a new family.
Is that his mate, Mr. North?
That's right. He's got a real mate now.
Badger Man sounding uncomfortably jealous about that, and this is the end of our story, so can we just take a moment to recap here? The kids win some sort of school-based holiday to a farm where it's part of their education to write projects about something. That never happens. Instead, what they do is hang around with wild animals, wild men, and get themselves almost killed 3 or 4 times. In the meantime, their caregivers are either directly involved in that crime, or they're so negligent that they barely even feature in the story at all. To top that off, this story called Badger Girl, which also features someone called Badger Man, has barely anything to do with badgers at all, because 90% of what's going on actually involves horse rustling instead. And the only thing the badger does that's of any worth is maul a man half to death. And so, returning to my original question, which I have miraculously remembered, is a badger girl worse than a horse girl? That's much more difficult to answer when a badger girl is 50% horse girl. I'm afraid the results are inconclusive. The only thing that we've truly learned here is that Vin Diesel's Triple X should have paused every 5 minutes so that the man himself could teach us how words work.
When you want to start a story, the only family you need is S&T.
Then we could have all watched that in school instead of this dog shit.
It's the only education we got.
Goodbye.